If you're in the market for a pistol-mounted weapon light, there's plenty of options out there from the big name companies like Surefire, Streamlight, even Olight. But one of the ones that is kind of new that you might not have heard of is Warriorland. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is this Crossbow laser light combo from Warriorland. All right, so Warriorland reached out to me, asked me to take a look at some of their products, see if I want to do a video on them. I agreed because I like making reviews on different things. So we're going to take a look at some of the stuff they sent, and I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like about them, and you can make up your mind at the end of the video whether you like it or not also. All right, so the main thing they sent is this weapon light laser. It's a white light and green laser combo. It's about the size of a Streamlight TLR7. It's not quite as big as the TLR1. It's a little bit slimmer, a little bit shorter. It fits perfect on a Glock 19. Also, what came with it is this Kydex holster that's made for the light and a Glock full size, you know, it could be 19, 17, 22, whatever. The Glock full size 9mm and 40 size pistols. So that's pretty cool. They sent, you know, it comes with a holster and a light. That way you don't have to try to find a holster that fits the light in your gun, because that can be kind of hard to do sometimes, especially if it's not one of those big brands that I mentioned before, like Surefire or Streamlight. You know, you can find, if you got one of those, you can find a holster just about anywhere. You pair those with a Glock, you're good to go. But anyway, it might not be as easy to find one, so they send you one with it. So the holster is pretty nice, just off first impressions. It has one of these, you know, single wide clips right here with the two mounting screws. I kind of like these clips. I've used them a lot on other holsters, and they work great. They hold the belt. They're easy to get on and off. It keeps the gun pretty stable compared to like the thin, just using a single thin clip. The edges on the holster are finished nice. They're not like glass mirror polish, but they're smooth. They're clean. There's no like machine or sanding marks in them. Everything's smooth. Comes with a full sweat guard and optics cut right here, so you can mount your red dot on top of your gun and not have to worry about, you know, cutting it out or having it clear. It does also have two big rubber spacers right here, which is good for the retention. That's how you're going to adjust it. You know, just tighten that screw or loosen it, and it's going to mold. It's going to grip around the mold on the flashlight, because on weapon-mounted holsters for guns with weapon-mounted lights, that's where they get their retention. They grab the light, because usually it grabs the trigger guard, but if you have a light on there, you know, it's wider than the trigger guard, and it'd be kind of hard to do. So the light is where the retention comes from. You can see on the back right here, they've got a little mold right there. That's probably where the majority of the retention is going to come from, just these little indentions right here. And like I said, you tighten it and loosen it with these two screws right here. All right, the light itself is pretty cool. It feels pretty good. It's metal body. It's not plastic, which is, you know, good. It comes with different little mounting tabs right here. You can just unscrew it and put the different ones on there, whether you've got a Glock, a SIG, you know, M&P, whatever. So that's nice. It comes with all of the little mounting tabs to mount on whatever pistol you have. It's got two switches on the back. They both do the same thing. You can long hold it and it'll cut off. You can quick tap it and it'll stay on. It's got a little switch right here that goes side to side. Pretty good positive retention, or positive clicks, I should say. It's got a little diagram on there. The middle is going to give you light and laser combo. You can see right there. You go to one side, you're going to get laser only. And if you go all the way to the other side, you're going to get light only. So you can really kind of pick and choose which options you want to use and when. This is USB rechargeable, so it's got, you see the little magnet tabs right there, the contacts for the the charging cord to recharge it. That's kind of hit or miss with some people. Some people, I guess, like the being able to swap the CR123s out or whatever battery. But you know, it's kind of cool. You got a cable. So if you're out doing something and you've got like one of those USB battery charging packs. You can just plug it in and charge your light back up. It's got a little thumb screw right here. It's got the little slot for like a coin or a flathead, which most other weapon lights also have. And you see right there, this is the housing for the laser. It just bolts right onto the bottom of it. Maybe you could take it off. I'm not going to try to, but I guess if you really didn't want it, you could take it off, but kind of wouldn't really matter because the switch sticks up, so you're not really going to be gaining anything. I don't really know why you'd want to do that, but there it is. These are the adjusting screws for the like windage and elevation for the laser. One on the bottom, one on the side. You know, you get the idea. You go side to side, you go up and down. All right, enough about that. Let's go ahead and get it on the pistol. This is my Glock 19. I've got the appropriate mounting tab on there. Just gonna get this thing screwed on here a little bit. Use my fingernail and this little stubby flathead right here. Get it pretty snug. You don't have to like crank it down super hard because you're dealing with aluminum and plastic. So there it is on the Glock 19. You can see it just hardly even at all sticks out past the barrel, the muzzle there. You can see how wide it is. It's not much wider than the frame of the pistol itself. And to me, it just fits really well up under a Glock 19. Of course, if you had a 17, your barrel would just stick out just a touch more. But it's got that, you know, TLR7 kind of form factor, the size and all that stuff. So it's not going to add much, you know, size to your pistol. There it is in the holster. It's snug. It's not as, you know, loud of a click as you would get from, like I said, a trigger guard retention holster, because there's just not as much material or space for the holster to pinch around. You're only dealing with just a little bit of area or edge in here somewhere to get the retention from, but it slides in nice. It locks in decent. If you're going to have this in your mounted on your belt inside your waistband, it's going to create even more tension, so it's not something I would worry about. Like I stated earlier, it's cut for an optic, so you've got plenty of room for whichever size optic. This is a Holosun 407. If you had a 507, it'd be the same, or a 407C, not the K. This is the full-size C model, but plenty of room. Clears it on the bottom right there on both sides. You don't have to do any trimming or adjusting. Feels good around the trigger guard. This 19 has a slight undercut on the trigger guard, but it's not really getting in my way. I might trim it just a little bit. Just depends on how your hand feels, you know, when you go to grab the pistol. There are some things about this holster, however, that I don't like. One of them being, just set that down. One of them being the length of it. You can't really specify if you want 19 or 17, so they just send it with the 17 length. And if you're carrying an appendix, that can be a big deal because, you know, space is limited in your groin area, your appendix, your groin area, because your legs are moving and all that stuff. And when you sit down, the less barrel you have digging into your leg, the better. Some people like a longer barrel appendix because it puts leverage on the holster to put the back of the gun toward your belly. But, you know, I've got fairly big size legs. I've got fairly good sized legs, and when I sit down, it, you know, really digs in if you got too much holster down there. Another thing kind of on those lines, this area right here is just a lot of extra material in a very valuable spot. I guess not valuable, but it's a lot of material in a spot that doesn't need to have a lot of material, because like I said, this is where your leg is going to be, like that. Any material you have down here pushing into your leg is just going to be really uncomfortable. I wore this for about an hour in my truck. I was sitting down, driving different places, and the only spot I noticed the hot spot was on this edge right here, where all this extra material was digging into my leg, and it was almost like unbearable after, you know, 30 or 45 minutes of it digging into my leg. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to, you know, draw a line to the bottom edge of that where the flashlight bezel comes out. I'm just going to chop all that stuff off and cut it straight across for, you know, Glock 19 slide length. I can do that because I have tools for making holsters and kind of tweaking them. If you don't have that stuff, that's kind of a disadvantage for you and a disadvantage for the holster itself. So, you know, maybe in the future they can come out with a 19 specific length holster and maybe find a way to keep the retention where it's at, because you kind of have to keep it right here. But keep it right here, but get rid of some of this extra that you don't really need right here. One more thing about a little too much material for my liking is back here, give me just a second, back here on the back where the sweat guard is, I don't know if you can see right here just how high the holster sticks up. If you look at it from this angle, it doesn't really seem like much because it's level with the slide kind of. But if you look at it like that, it's really, you know, sticking up where it doesn't need to. That's going to dig into your belly. And when you've got an appendix and you have any sort of, you know, gut or belly, it's going to poke, it's going to get in there because it's flexible. You're going to pinch skin every time you reholster. So another thing I'm going to do is knock some of that off and just bring it down a little bit on the slide. This is my other holster. This is kind of a shell that I bought the shell and then added all the stuff to it. So you can see, you know, how much shorter that sweat guard is. You can see how much less material is right here. This is a 19 length and it's really rounded right here. So this is like my number one comfortable go-to holster. And hopefully with a little bit of tweaking, I can make this one be about the same form factor as that one, but with the light added to it. All right, so I went ahead and kind of tweaked the holster a little bit. This is being recorded after the rest of the video, which, so if I sound a little stuffy, it's because I am. It's springtime in Alabama and the pollen and all that stuff is absolutely destroying my sinuses right now. So please bear with me. I apologize for that. So let's, anyway, I went ahead and trimmed the holster. I cut the bottom off right here to be in line with the bezel of the flashlight. Also curved it right here. So this mounting hole right here is actually new. The other one was way down here. I basically sanded it right here until that hole was gone. And then I made a new hole right there all the way through. Moved the spacer up. And then I made this wing right here out of some really thick Kydex. Just bent it, sanded it, formed it, whatever, drilled the holes through it, and then screwed it through. That's the original hole. That's the new one. Just put the bolts through there with the spacers, and there it is. Fits a whole lot better now. It's a whole lot smoother. Right here, a lot less material. I wore it for a pretty good while yesterday after filming the original video, and it felt great. It sat good. Also adjusted this a little bit. This is adjustable, like side, not side to side, but the angle of it. So I straightened it was sitting like this. I straightened it up just a little bit to kind of drop this handle toward my belt a little bit because I didn't like the way it was sitting. But anyway, that's what it looks like all trimmed up. That's in my opinion, that's how it should be from the factory. So maybe they'll take that into consideration. Who knows? All right, so on the light, you see you got the logo. This little window right here, when you turn the light on, I know it's going to flicker in the camera maybe because LEDs and, you know, frame rates of cameras don't really like to blend. But it just says Warriorland right there, and it gives you kind of a battery indicator when you first cut it on. I don't know if you can see that kind of. It's a little battery indicator, which is good because it tells you what your battery is. You don't have to guess when it's going to die. You can, you know, throw it back on the charger. For me personally, I'm not a huge fan of lasers on pistols. I would much rather just have nothing on it or a weapon light. To me, like a dedicated pistol, dedicated laser on a pistol doesn't serve much of a benefit. Maybe if you're somebody that doesn't shoot a lot or doesn't like to shoot and doesn't really want to train to be proficient with it, which you should be, but for whatever reason you just aren't or don't want to be, you could throw a laser on the bottom. It could help you aim under stress. It's not really going to help you shoot better because you're still going to have to use the right, fundamentals to bring the gun up, hold the gun, control the recoil, and all that stuff. So that's why, to me, like, a laser doesn't really, I don't see the benefit in the laser, because I can find my sights or this red dot a lot faster than I can find the laser and put the laser on the target. It just doesn't make it any faster or more easier. I guess one thing is, if you couldn't, get behind the sights, like if you were looking through something, like if you're like a SWAT team dude and you had a shield and you're coming around the shield, maybe that's a benefit. If it was an IR laser and using it at night with night vision, that would be a huge benefit. But to me, standalone lasers, just not that big a deal, not that big of a benefit to me. This one is mounted under the light. It doesn't add that much space to it, so it is what it is. The light itself is fairly bright. They claim like 800 or so lumens on a full battery, which I don't have a lumen tester, so I can take their word for it. It's brighter than my old TLR1 that has 130 or 150 lumens. It's a good deal brighter than that, so hey, it might be 800 lumens. I'll roll in some footage of the beam pattern at night, what it looks like, what the spotlight looks like on it, not the spotlight, the hot spot, what I'm trying to say, in the middle, how big it is, how intense it is, what the spill looks like around the edges. Because to me, a light on a pistol needs to have a little bit of a hot spot, but it also needs to have some throw, because you're going to be shooting short range. You're probably going to be indoors with it. You want to be able to, kind of light up the area. You don't really need the beam to go 100 yards down range and be able to pick out a target 100 yards away like you would, say, on a rifle or a long gun or something like that. So it needs to have a little bit more spill. I could deal with a little bit more spill on a spill. How many more times can I say spill in this one sentence? But it needs a little bit of spill so you can, illuminate the area a little better, so you can kind of see your peripherals, because things are going to be close by you. You need to be able to see them. Whatever. One more thing they did want me to look at was a dedicated pistol laser. I know I kind of talked bad about them, but I gave you some options on why you might need one or want one. If that's you, they do have a red standalone laser, no light, it's just a laser that mounts under the trigger guard of whatever pistol you have. Mine is for a Glock, so that's what this is for. And they send you a holster which looks remarkably similar to the other one. It just has a different mold right here, because this laser is different size than the flashlight, so it's going to mold a little different. At any rate, still got decent retention on it. Same thing, 2 big washers right here. Same drawback, it has a little bit too much material at the bottom, but at any rate, it's pretty much the exact same holster, exact same mold, just a little bit different right here. One more thing to note about this laser, it is a plastic body. It's a plastic housing. All the internals inside are surrounded by plastic. So that's one thing I'm not too, wouldn't be too confident in. It does go around the trigger guard right in here. So you do get like a solid lockup. Like, it's not going to come off the gun. I'm just worried about plastic housing on a plastic frame and being able to retain zero and all that stuff. It's not that big a deal if it doesn't retain, because it's just, it's a laser. You don't have to go sight it in every time you want to use it. Just pick something 15 yards away, line up your sights, and then just tweak the laser until it moves back to where your sights are. It's a whole lot easier with a red dot. You just line the 2 dots up at whatever distance you want them to line up at, and there you go. You can check it easily, just in a safe manner. Hold it up, turn the laser on, see if it's still on. This one I'm more confident in because it's in a metal housing, and things just seem to do better when they're in metal than versus being in plastic. This laser on the light is green. This one is red. You can see both of them in daylight. To me, the red kind of sticks out a little bit more, and daylight just contrasts a little more. From here, that post back there at the back of the pole barn is probably 20 feet away. You can see both lights. It's going to be really hard to see on the camera because it's such a small dot and it's not going to be able to focus. You're probably not even going to see it. Just kind of take my word for it. You can see them on that post, both of them, from here about 20 yards away, midday. I am under a cover, so it's shaded. If you are out in the sunlight, it's pretty much a no-go on seeing the laser. Like, I'm shining it on the ground right now in the shade where I can see it, and right when it goes out in the sun, you can barely see it. And like I said earlier, the drawback on a laser is you still have to be able to point and aim naturally to have the laser go where you can find it quickly. You can't just, you know, hold the gun up and expect the laser to be right where you're wanting it to be. And if it's daylight and you can't see the light, it doesn't contrast very much, you're going to sit there for way too much time trying to find the laser wherever it's at and then putting it where you need it to go. So drawback on a laser, daylight is pretty much useless to me. If you're indoors, it's dark and you can see it and the light will show up easily, that's really when it's going to be beneficial. So doesn't matter if it's green or red. In the daylight, you're not really going to see either one of them. So there's that. So overall, this light and laser combo, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. The light is bright. It's in a metal housing. The clamping, area on the light seems to be fairly decent. It should hold on to your gun. It shouldn't fall off as long as you keep it screw tight and just keep an eye on it. It's USB rechargeable. You don't have to worry about batteries. You can charge it pretty much with anything that has USB power. That's also a plus. It does come with a holster, so you can go ahead and run it the way it is. You don't have to get one custom made or try to find one. So that's a plus, but that plus can also be a negative. What I'm trying to say is this light is, it's not the same shape as a TLR7. It's not going to fit in the same holsters. And if you're like me, this Glock 19 right here is my go-to. It's my main squeeze. I want to be able to carry it appendix. I want to be able to carry it in a pancake outside the waistband. Also, if I want to be able to carry it in like a drop leg, I want to be able to do the same thing, which I can without this light, because it's just a standard Glock 17, Glock 19 holster that you can find anywhere, and you can get them to do anything. And even with a TLR7, they're so prevalent and popular, you can find any holster you want with a TLR7. But with this one, they send you one. It's inside the waistband. If you want to do outside, you're going to have to find somebody to custom make one, or you're going to have to make one yourself. And you're really just kind of limited on options of what kind of holsters you can use with this light. If it's going to be your dedicated, inside the waistband gun, then hey, you're 100% ready to go. You can rock it the way it is. But for me, I kind of like to have more options. So what I might do is either just not have this light on here, or I'll make myself an outside the waistband holster and use it that way. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. Any of the videos that I make about products, if they're available on Amazon, I'll have a link to my Amazon store below. I've even got some other stuff that I don't have videos on. You can find some like radio things, accessories for radios, different tactical gear and products. So check out my Amazon store. It helps me out. Also, there's links to other things, affiliate links for different websites, different products. Just check it out. There's links down there. Click around. Do what you want. It helps me out. It helps me to help you. So there's that. If you like the video, go ahead and like it. Also, comment in the bottom. I like comments way more than the likes. I think YouTube likes them too. It kind of helps the algorithms a little bit. So whatever you have to say, let me know. Good, bad, I don't care. If you just want to talk about something, get down there and type away. Let me know what you think. Subscribe so we can get notifications and stuff on future videos whenever I post them. I try to be more consistent, but you know, life is life and things happen. But at any rate, thanks for watching. Go outside, make yourself better, go train, go get strong, go get in shape, because we have no idea what the future has for us and we need to be ready. See y'all next time.